When you're caught in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. Of course, those are the words of Dr. Seuss from Oh, the Places You Go. That's what I want to talk about today. If you need some further help unslumping yourself, I might be able to offer some assistance. Stay listening to the end of the podcast to hear what I can help you out with. Let's begin.
This is a beautiful thought.
Welcome, seekers, travelers, wanderers who are not lost. Let's talk about how some moods are sticky. I know this happens to a lot of people. I know this definitely happens to me. Something happens as somebody maybe doesn't do what you're expecting, and then you start to feel bad because of it. Or you start to feel a certain mood which sticks to you, and maybe you'd like to shake it. And maybe even the next day, or if you're not practiced at this, maybe even weeks later, you're still feeling the same thing. When it starts to get to you a bit, you start to feel a bit bitter. Now, on the surface, of course, it's a negative thing, but this is also a learning opportunity, because every time one of these situations comes up, you have a chance to learn how to get out of it, and the next time you'll be better at it, and you know how to manage your own emotions, and maybe you can even give people a few subtle tips on how to get themselves out of this kind of situation. One important thing to keep in mind, which isn't always obvious if you're in the moment, is a simple phrase, "This too shall pass." And when you're in the midst of that kind of malaise, we used to call this, some of these emotions, we used to call them in direct sales, being negged out. It's like this malaise, this indignance, like this shouldn't have happened to me. Like somehow the universe has wronged you or something like that. We all feel it. When you're out of it, it can seem a little humorous that we feel or think this way. This too shall pass. And when you say that, when you think that, when you're right among that experience, it can be difficult to believe if you haven't had practice. But after a while, maybe after some years of thinking that and meditating that and noticing that it does actually happen, you will see that is the absolute truth. This too shall pass, and you don't even need to say it, speak it with conviction, because you know, deep in your heart, you have faith that this is truth. Everything is temporal, everything is ephemeral. You don't need to worry about the ripples on the surface of the ocean, because the ocean floor is always there. This too shall pass. Another thing you can do when you have some sticky moods is a pranayama exercise. I've mentioned this before, this breathing exercise, alternate nostril breathing. So you apply your index finger and your middle finger to your forehead and alternate your breathing using your thumb and your ring finger with the pause in between on the holding your breath in for a few seconds. So I demonstrated that. If you look on YouTube, search for the video Anxiety Mastery, the Paradise Paradox, you see where I demonstrated that. My friend Luis taught me that one, and it's very effective. It's quite amazing how effective it is in calming yourself down. So I mentioned it before. The reason I repeat it is because it's really that good. Of course, you can also do physical exercise. So You read books like Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. He gives these examples when he's working with Sampras or some high-level tennis player, and this guy has fallen out of the mentality of a champion, and Tony Robbins says to him, look, how does a champion stand? You're going to stand like that. And it's really remarkable how our physiology and our mentality are so closely connected. So when you do change the physical form, it also has an effect on your mentality, on your emotions. If you stand like a depressed person, so disappointed, oh, why is this happening to me? Or just want the beast to be over. Of course, you're going to have a very different experience of life if you perk up, stick your butt out, elongate your spine, and stand like you're ready to the world. Maybe even stamp the floor a bit or something like this. You can do this silly stuff or mess around in your room, dance. And when you dance, you actually shake off a lot of the tension that's in your body, like I'm picturing that scene from the Joker before, or the first scene where he's dancing with the pistol, and it's like, oh, you're such a good dancer. But just messing around, having fun, playing, improvising, loosens a lot of the tension in your body, and as a result, loosens the tension in your mind and in your soul and your emotions. Another important thing to keep in mind, sometimes when we have a sticky emotion in our belly, sitting there like a brick or a big old bag of sand under our navel, we use that to interpret the things that happen. And maybe subtle things happen to us, which really, if we're in a neutral or peaceful emotional state, we wouldn't even think about them. But because we have this mood, we start to use that as a filter. Of course, you heard of rose-colored glasses, but there's all kinds of colored glasses, like blue-colored glasses, black-colored glasses. And when these things start to color your experience, another thought will emerge as an interpretation of an event, and you'll say, this means that I am not worthy. This means that people don't like me, or something like that. It happens. The important thing to remember is, well, once again, this too shall pass. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's the truth. You don't have to latch onto your thoughts. You don't have to give them weight or focus on them. Thoughts, in the form of speaking, just like clouds floating over the sky. Interesting to watch. Maybe, in a sense, ultimately meaningless. They're just things that happen. And they can't disturb the subtle, peaceful, infinite blueness of the sky. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for practicing with your emotions, because when you do that, you're taking a practical step in creating this better world. You're taking control or influence over the things that surround you, tending your garden to cultivate beautiful crops and beautiful flowers. Thank you. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
A beautiful thought.
If you're still caught in a sticky mood, then I can help you with some cognitive behavioral sessions. And what I'll do, listen to what's going on in your mind, and we'll try to figure out what is the real challenge and what you might do about it, how you can move forward. Develop an action plan between the two of us for you to move towards greater fulfillment and see your life in a more beautiful way, let's say. So check out the website, beautifulpodcast.com. You see in the header, it says CBT sessions. You can book a session with me and we can get started on that. Thanks for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.